What's up guys, SLOTH here, and this is the patch notes review for patch 3.20 or 20, Cyber Sentinel. We're gonna, as usual, go through the skins real quick, go through all the other changes, and then go down to the balance, and then we'll also talk about SMITE Tactics a little bit. Let's begin with the skins. We've got a new skin for Kumbhakarna, Warlord Kumbhakarna. I think this skin looks amazing, looks a bit like somewhat between Mad Max and World of Warcraft in game. Really cool voice pack, kind of bossy, I'll show you in a second. Really good skin. We've got a Ram skin, Nature's Guardian, kind of an elf-based skin. Also really cool in my opinion. Looks pretty good. We've got Scylla prototype, which looks very different from this card in game. She's got more like bluish hair and less this purple style, and her dogs are not as transparent as they are here and all that kind of stuff. I think she would be looking better if she was actually like in the card, but a solid skin at least. Then we have Arachne. Arachne gets a tier 2 skin, Tormentula. More white than the other skins. Very much focused on this skull bone kind of color scheme. But yeah, that's a cool skin. Good for a tier 2. Then we have Sor back. So this is a team skin for Sor, obviously, for Sobek. It looks pretty cool in game, I think. I like it. Like the shirt is really stretched out. It looks pretty cool. We have Susano Luminosity. I think it's not quite as cool. The cool thing are the sunglasses. It looks very much like the default model overall, I think. But it has some nice, well, color changes on the background. Like, not on the back. Where it's like a gradient of colors on the shirt. And that's pretty much it. But it's okay. We got the Scylla gold cards. Or Mastery, rather. And they look much better than the old ones, obviously, where her face was just all sparkly and stuff. Now she really looks good in those. And we've got the same for Ram, which we couldn't actually see because the game crashed on the patch notes when they tried to show it. Let's go through the voice packs real quick.
Meet your maker!
Kumbhakarna.
Make it more of a challenge.
That's Screaming Ram, apparently.
Who do I need to get this time?
Scylla.
I'm up here!
And Arachne. This should actually be the default voice pack because it's too, but whatever. With that, new emotes. Anubis got a dance emote. Shankui, cutesy. Definitely one of the better cutesies out there. So that one's really cool. It's based on a comic that was posted on Reddit, so that makes it even better. Achievements. Kamazotz gets its achievements. Hunbat gets its achievements, which are really easy enough. And Osiris gets its achievement, which is a lot harder for some reason. Odyssey 2017, obviously we're getting the Scylla skin here, we're getting the Arachne skin here. We're also getting Lady of the North announcer pack, which we actually haven't heard. And we're getting an Odyssey pedestal. So that's kind of cool. Then there's an explanation about the exclusive and how it's worked out now. Basically, the skins are all exclusive. The final skin of the Odyssey is limited, the newest skin. And the bonus frames, recall, HUD themes, avatars, and pedestal are all limited. So that's something you cannot get after. So if you want the HUD theme or something like me, then you basically have to get all the stuff. As an apology for the confusion, we'll be giving a free cutesy chest roll out to players who have any Odyssey points collected during the 3.29? That's not even out. 1.9 probably update. So we're getting a free cutesy chest if we already spent something. So that's nice. Miscellaneous. Personnel walls on the minimap are now green and start to pulse 30 seconds before expiring. I was a little confused at first, but it's on the minimap. That's the point, you know. So if you have your wards placed, not the team's wards, just your own, you will know, okay, my ward's about to run out. It's starting to pulse. I need to get a new one there if I want to have vision there. So that's helpful. I think that's a good change. We'll notify people a little more that they should get their wards now. Items changes. Emperor's Armor gets a price drop of 100, so it's bought more. Don't think that's going to change major things. It's still a situational niche item. Done. Heartseeker gets a buff. The 3-second physical power buff from the passive now applies 15% attack speed buff as well. So previously you got the 15% attack speed buff, and when the passive was activated, the attack speed buff was gone in return for the power. Now you get both. So you're going to have more DPS for those 3 seconds. Basically making Jingwei, for example, even stronger with this. How strong it's going to be in the end is debatable. The problem with this item is, or the reason why it's not built, is in the fact that it doesn't really offer anything that others don't. It doesn't have sustain, it doesn't have pen, it doesn't have crit, it doesn't have something like Kins. So you really have to want this, and this makes it problematic. That's why most people don't get it on Hunters early, for example, because in late game you'll always trade it out anyways, right? So I could still imagine this being good on certain characters. Arachne is someone that comes to mind, and maybe Jingwei. But it's gonna stay niche because people just don't want to pick it up because you kind of fall behind at a later stage. The power curve is gonna drop because of the item, and they don't like that. Stone Cutting Sword, though, very much picked up in the beginning of the season. Very much. Then kind of saw a bit of a decline because basic attack guards are not that popular at the moment. Ability-based kind of took over again. Now, this item sees a price reduce of 300 from 2,900 to 2,600. This is a very good item for the stats it offers. It's like the flat pen on there and stuff. It's amazing. It's just hard because you often don't find yourself in situations where you even hit the enemy 3 times, basically. So I think this is good. I think this is a really good buff. I think this is going to make the item more potent, lead to it being picked up more or again, maybe even on ability-based guards as the last slot if you want some damage, some defense. It still has a lot of power. So strong buff for that item. 300 gold is massive, in my opinion. That's tier 1 boots. Voidstone also getting a buff. Price reduce by 150 gold. Also decent. And magical protection increased by 10. So Voidstone, I don't know. You don't really see it often. You see it on Guardians as a situational last item. Aggressive pick, basically. We've seen it in the SPL. Xenotronics played it on Raging and everyone hated it for it. So Voidstone is not crazy good or anything. With this, it has a bit more of a justification. It obviously can be good early on now, I think, especially if you have to build magical defense. As a jungler, for example, I feel if you're a magical jungler and you need magical defense, why not? But then again, how often are you going to see 2 magical junglers? Maybe Khepri, for example. Khepri could make use of this now. And that closes the item section, and we go into guard changes. Puch. Puch has been wildly unpopular in Conquest, and I guess this is the attempt to change that. 25 extra base health, 5 extra health per level, base movement speed increased by 10. This is probably the most significant part here. Mana cost reduced on the 1, on the 2, and on the ultimate. Increased in all cases. In the case of the ultimate, it just doesn't get increased over time. Though, as far as I know, a lot of people don't level the ult anyways, like past the first point. Casting time reduced on the ultimate, so it's instant now instead of having that delay where he just moves up his arms and the corpses come out but don't deal damage yet. And increased recovery time afterwards, so I think he's kind of locked down for a bit after using the ability where it was initially the cast time. But it will deal damage earlier. That's the important thing here. Overall, I don't think it's gonna do all too much to a push. The point here is interesting because I like that. What they say is our final goal is to make a push more viable, yet not cause too much frustration to his enemies. And I think that so it's justifiable to give him more health. He's one of those guys where I'm saying, give him some scaling defense. Wouldn't kill him. He still has low mobility, and you can basically build him Dirty Bubble right now, or he could for quite a while at least. And that kind of works for him, and that makes him interesting, as he's a very unusual pick overall. If these changes will do much in that regard, I doubt it. I really doubt it. There is someone who sees a lot more significant changes, though. Ah Muzen Cab is actually a stronger hunter than most players give him credit for, putting him in a very difficult situation for balance. As Season 3 finishes and we work towards Season 4, we want to make sure gods have a very specific identity. For us, AMC's identity lies in his hives. This ability is seeing a wide variety of buffs and quality of life changes to reward players that create a clever network of hives and to make it slightly harder to gank this hunter with limited mobility. And now we go for the crazy. Excuse that. I didn't even notice that those pop up. I'm gonna hide them for a bit. Hives reveals all enemy guards within 20 units to all allies, not only to AMC, to all allies, and shows the hive area at all times. So you can see that not only when you use your 3, you know where a hive is. Shows the area of a hive being placed in the targeting mode, in targeting mode. Also good. Excuse me. Increased radius from 80 to 90, and this is quite big because it doesn't sound like much, 10 more radius, but it's a radius. It's not just a line, it's all around, and that makes it a lot bigger. It's actually massive now on the mini map, or on the map rather. Reduce mana cost from scaling up to 60 to 40 at all ranks, so it's easier to basically spam them now. And they like, it's easier to spam them. They work as wards. They have a 90 radius, which I think is longer than any ward on the map. Wait, hang on. Within 20 units. So, okay, I guess you have to be closer than the radius to reveal enemies with the hives. But it's still freaking good. You get the same benefits within the hive area. The hive area is larger and you get wards. Yes, you still have no mobility escape, but you're probably better off getting away than in Skadi, maybe, depending on the, you know, what your goal is. But with him being fast pretty much everywhere and seeing enemies very, very early, he should have a lot less problems. At the same time, Honey increased bees flying to Honey from hive's range from 55 to 90. So wherever you put the honey, the bees will be now, no matter which range. So overall, solid buffs to AMC. It's really hard to say how viable it's going to make him on high-level competitive play, because I think map awareness is not a problem for those players most of the time. But having so many free wards is strong. You can even ward freaking Fire Giant with that for a while at least. And on lower levels of play, where there's not enough focused attention to a guy like that early on, where he has more room to roam around and do whatever he wants to do, this is huge. And this is going to allow AMC to perform a lot better on like anywhere up to whatever diamond level, I would say, at least, if not more, because he's just going to be a lot less gankable and a lot more safe in what he does, and, you know, still relatively snowbally. So AMC, expect him. Bacchus is seeing a buff. Healing reduction debuff increased from 25% to 50% on Badge of the Gods. Now the thing is, Bacchus was recently the strongest Guardian, the most overperforming Guardian. Suddenly Terra and Fafnir came along, and now Bacchus needs a buff? I don't think so. I think they're enough. Like, you could just nerf the other Guardians that are like top tier, and Bacchus will be absolutely fine. But Bacchus is more of an anti-heal guard now, and I understand where they're coming from. Saying here, like, almost all guards have 50% anti-heal. So, fair enough. Fair enough. I still don't think it's necessary. Camazos gets some buffs. Screech cooldown decrease from 15 to 13 seconds. Don't know why that was necessary. I don't feel like that was a problem. I don't feel like that was, like, especially with CDR and stuff, that's gonna be a lot more spammable than before, and I don't see that being necessary. I don't think that was his weakness. I think his damage and stuff is big enough as it is. Vampire Butts separate slow and damage over time into separate effects. Reason being, if you use Wingblade, otherwise you would cancel out the damage. You can no longer do that. And there's now a visual FX that shows the slow. Good, yeah. Quality of life mostly. Or logical change, call it that. Bad out of hell. Increased duration of the ability from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. Good! Because you had to spam that ability. Now you can actually aim it. Now it feels like an ability should feel. Also means that Aegis is worse when it comes to countering that ability. Keep that in mind. You will not have all the duration of his ultimate as damage immunity, so you can still hit you with the last swing or something like that. And, much more importantly, now passes through player-created deployables. You can now go through Odin Wall, Thor Wall, Cabrakan Wall, all that kind of stuff. I think Cabrakan Wall even worked for some reason, but yeah. That's good. Very, very good. That's how it should be. That is a logical change. If he needs nerfs afterwards, it's something other, but the ult was ultra clunky and no one liked the ult in its current state. And with its low mobility, still got problems. Low CC, relatively low CC. And will slowly seem settle into the meta. I can still imagine people completely overperforming with him now because of the buffs that he has now and the overall power that this god has. But still, except for the Screech buff, I see these buffs as justifiable and logical, because mostly they are just making the god function in a way that feels nice to play. And that brings us to Kali. Kali is gonna be nice to play. Marked for death allows you to choose your target. Twice, actually, or multiple times. It allows you to choose your target at the beginning of the game. And when you die, you can choose your target again. And when you kill someone in the fight, the target will not be whoever else randomly, but the closest target to them. That means that in team fights, Kali can snowball like crazy because she's going to kill number 1, and then she's going to be next to number 2 and kill number 2 and kill number 3 because they're all going to be marked one after each other. She also has a better chance at getting a kill. You know, if you're Kali and your first target is support, and the support is a support with high mobility, then good fucking luck with that. Because that guy's not gonna let you kill him unless he terribly mispositions. Now you can just take the middle laner or the enemy jungler and just focus them. You can either go into their jungle with wrath and steal the camps and hope that the enemy risks trying to attack you, and then try to kill them in the process and get a very early snowbally kill with extra gold. And then maybe kill the solo lane along with it because he's marked right after. Or you can go for an early mid camp or mid fight and try to get a kill there and then snowball from there. So there are many options for Kali to function better in that regard, and that's something worth keeping in mind. That's something you should be very concerned about. Despite of Kali not being in her strongest state at the moment, I think that's going to be very much working in her favor without directly changing her power. It's still going to give her more power. And Stone Cutting Sword is getting a buff as well, so be prepared. Serqet. Serqet, this ability, Last Breath, this ability will now only go on cooldown if it successfully hits a target. Good. Nothing more to say about that. If somebody leaps away, it will not go on cooldown, and you will not deal damage to them either. That's how it should be. Nice. Good. Good change. Fine. Thanatos. Thanatos, okay. This is weird. General. Abilities now cost percentage of current health, not percentage of total health. That I understand. That makes sense to me. It gives him a little more of a chance to store his abilities. Not that it ever really mattered much as long as you were able to hit your abilities, to be honest, but I understand where it's coming from. Makes sense. Number 2. Soul Reap. Adjusted silence duration from scaling down from 0.5 seconds up to 1.5 seconds to 1 second at all ranks. Now I'm going to use a word here that many of you liked so much that I used the last time, because this is a nerf. This is obviously a buff to his early game, but it's also a nerf to his late game. And the question is, if you think of Thanatos, where do you think the guy needs a buff? I'll give you 3 seconds. Spoilers, it's not his early game. This guy struggles late game. That's the whole thing. Thanatos is an ultra strong early game god. So I don't see why he needs a buff in early game and a nerf in late game. I honestly don't know where that's coming from. If it was 1.5 seconds at all ranks, I could absolutely understand. That would be crazy good. But Soul Reap is usually the ability you level second. And that's not so late in the game. And you know, I don't get it. I literally don't get it. I'd take it, I guess. Maybe, some early kills are easier to confirm now and allow you to snowball a little better, but I still think that late game is what he needs a little bit of. Fair enough. Let's talk about SMITE Tactics. Actually, let me just open the website for you. SMITEtactics.com. Here you go. This is what it looks like right now. SMITE Tactics is gonna be the new HiRez game. You can sign up for the beta already, so you better do that if you want to see it. Let's check if we can watch this trailer. No, we cannot. Yes, we can. Yeah.
26.
You can watch that on YouTube. You'll find it by searching SMITE Tactics. Maybe I remember to put the link down here as well. And the thing with this is, SMITE Tactics is basically a round-based strategy game, kind of, from what it looks like, kind of mini game-ish. You only have like a few gods. You have gods out of the SMITE universe, basically, out of the SMITE pantheons. And, well, you're going to play against each other. And it seems a lot of fun, I would say. I think it's a cool idea. It's nothing crazy, nothing that changes the world. But it looks fun. It has nice animations and all that kind of stuff, And the people were asking where this is coming from. Why is this happening? What's the point of this? Blah blah blah. Incon actually says it in this video, and I think he hits the spot on. Whatever, hammer on the head or whatever you call that in English, hammer on the nail. So what the reason behind this probably is that this game, from what it looks like, should not take too long for a round, and is something you can play in queue. That means that all those Smite streamers like me, or especially those who actually place in higher ranks and have like 10-minute queues, they all have something to play in queue while streaming instead of playing friggin' Hearthstone or other mini games or doing other weird stuff, because they can play something Smite related. I would love to have that like integrated into Smite completely, so you can just play it in queue and then, you know, jump out of it as well. But I guess that's not going to be the case, but you can still play it in queue, you know. And that, I think, is a smart move, and it looks fun enough for me to try it out. So yeah, that's SMITE Tactics so far. We find out more as soon as we have more info on it. And that's it for both that and the patch notes. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was informative. I'll see you all for the next video tomorrow. SLOTH out.